This year, ESAT's introduced a new area for students to play sports during lunch and nutrition. We're calling it the Sports Zone. The Sports Zone's been open since the fall semester, and more students are spending their nutrition and lunch breaks there. It's now time to identify and communicate to you the school's expectations for using this area. The area with the yellow lines is the out-of-bounds area, where students are not supposed to be during nutrition and lunch. So, as students walk to the sports area, it's important to not walk through or hang out around the cars. Students should also come to the sports zone through the breezeway doors by the sheriff's office, and also go back into the school using those same doors. Students should not try to go back into school by going to the main office through the out-of-bounds area. Students in the out-of-bounds areas of the sports zone during nutrition and lunch will be warned once, and then asked to go back into the school's quad area after the second instance of being out of bounds. The sports zone has spaces designated for different sports. The area farthest from the school building is designated for soccer. There are 2 small soccer nets in that area. It's understood that the soccer ball will sometimes go out of the sports zone, so a player can go get the soccer ball and bring it back to the game without being considered out of bounds. If students want to play basketball, in the far back corner of the sports zone, there are 2 basketball goals. This is where the teal box is. Volleyball has been really popular with the kids this year as well. If students want to play volleyball, it should be played in the farthest parking lane between the basketball goal and the school building where the red rectangle is. And we've bought a new game to the school called Spike Ball. The spike ball can be played in the second parking lane from the end where the green box is. You might notice that there's not a football area. We have been allowing football, but unfortunately we will no longer allow football in the sports zone. Unfortunately, the football regularly has been hitting the solar panels in the parking lot on a pretty regular basis. And LACC, who we rent the facilities from, has been generous in allowing us to use this area for sports. But if we cause damage to their property, then we could very well lose access to this area for sports. With that in mind, we will no longer be allowing football in the sports zone. ESAT has purchased equipment for students to check out during nutrition and lunch. The available equipment includes basketballs, soccer balls, volleyballs, and the spike ball with the spike ball net. The equipment will be stored in the equipment shed located by the first parking lane nearest to the school. The shed will be locked at all times except nutrition and lunch. When a student wants to check out equipment to use, they simply sign it out with the staff supervising the sports zone at the time. There will be staff members by the equipment shed at the beginning and end of nutrition and lunch every day. The equipment shed area is shown in the purple box on the map. When supervising staff signals the horn announcing the end of nutrition or lunch from the sports zone, you'll have 1 minute to stop playing that sport and return the equipment. A second horn will ring at that time. If the equipment is not returned by the second horn, that zone will be closed for the next break. In other words, if players continue playing basketball after the second horn during nutrition, or the ball is returned by the second horn in nutrition, then there will be no basketball at lunch that day. Soccer, volleyball, and spike ball will still be open, though. If this happens at lunch, then the area will be closed for nutrition the next day. Here are some other rules for the sports zone. There will be no dunking or lowering of the goals in the basketball area. They should be set at 10 feet high. Dunking ruins the rims of the goals and will eventually lead to there no longer being a basketball area, so no dunking. Competition should be friendly in the sports zone. There should be no extremely rough play or fighting. Rough play will result in students being removed from the activity, and fighting will earn a meeting with school's administration, as fighting would at any area of the school. The sports zone is open during eating times, and it's perfectly fine for students to eat in the sports zone. But students should throw away their trash when done eating. There are 2 large trash cans in the sports zone, and you can see them where the yellow dots are. Please help keep the sports zone clean by throwing trash away in those trash cans. Thank you. The biggest issue in the sports zone has been the challenge of having students return to the main campus at the end of nutrition and lunch. When the horn ends nutrition or lunch, many students are either continuing to play even after many requests to stop, or are standing around, not heading in, once again, after many requests by staff to go back to school. ESAT wants to provide a place for students to play sports and enjoy themselves, but if students are not returning to class in a timely manner, then the sports zone is interfering with instruction. Students who are warned about taking too long to return to the school on a repeated basis will lose the privilege of coming out to the sports zone for a period of time. This will start as a one-day suspension, but will increase for a student who continues to have trouble getting back to class on time. Finally, the school reserves the right to choose to close the sports zone if this is an issue with a large amount of students, or if there are staffing issues with the sports zone. If the sports zone is closed, announcements will be made before nutrition and before lunch to let students know of its closure. ESAT's really excited to operate the sports zone to create a safe space for students to play basketball, soccer, volleyball, and spike ball. It's important for students to enjoy the break times of nutrition and lunch while playing sports and interacting with their friends. Let's all work together as a school community to help keep the sports zone clean, organized, and most importantly, open.